Welcome to the video. Today I'll be showing you exactly how I work around 2 hours a day and built a 40K month SMMA, and as well I'm building a 20K month coaching business. This might sound too good to be true. How are you working 2 hours a day? What are you doing to do that? I'm going to explain that in this video, but my hope by the end of this video is that you will be working less and earning more money. That's a big claim, but just watch the video and go through the tactics I'm showing you. It's no get rich quick scheme or anything like that. It's going to take hard work, and you just have to internalize this video to actually make it work. So enjoy. All right, first, to understand how to actually work less, we first have to understand what leverage is. And this doesn't sound like a shiny object, doesn't sound fancy, but this is just the hard truth of business. You have to learn these things in order to work less and actually develop the business, right? So leverage can be defined as the amount of volume for outputs in the system for each input. So this is actually a definition from systems theory. I love systems theory, and in this we'll be breaking down exactly what that means. So first of all, we have an input and we have output, right? So everything in life is down to cause and effect. So systems theory is just a way of actually putting cause and effect into business and actually mapping it so we can use a mental model with everything we're doing. Inputs represent the basic materials or resources that would be transformed in the output. Feedback is the element of control. If the desired output is not achieved, the process or the inputs must be adjusted to achieve the goal. So, okay, we're talking about all this, but what does this actually mean in the game of business, right? So let's give some examples, right? So input, during a cold call session, you attempt pitching in a different tonality, right? So that's your input. You're trying to see exactly what pitching in a different tonality does. Output, the prospects, when you're cold calling, were quite receptive to this in a different tone, and they're booking a lot of appointments. You're like, wow, that's great. So you get a feedback. So the feedback at the end of the test was that there's a higher appointment booking rate on the calls that were actually made that day. So with this feedback, you now know that this tonality in the next cold call session is actually going to be better than the one you're using before. So let's actually apply this then. The first cold call session before using this tonality, appointment booking rate was 2% on 100 calls that you did. So you got 2 appointments. So with the better tonality on the cold calls, with 100 calls, you then got 4 appointments, right? So notice how we're getting more outputs for the inputs we're putting in immediately when we start building the skill in the thing. So the persons who has actually learned from the feedback in the scenario kept adjusting the outputs to edit their inputs. Now that we have an example and we understand the input-output equation and feedback and how we can adjust from that with our actions, let's get some more examples, and I'll show you how to actually systemize absolutely everything in your agency to start getting better at things and then first cutting the things out, right? So let's give one more example. Goal is onboarding prospects into our agency, right? So we sign a new client, we're getting a new client on. The input here is that every time we sign a client, we're sending out onboarding emails to a prospect every single time they sign, and we're welcoming them to our team, right? So this might be literally me going in Gmail and then going into it, copy and pasting a welcome email, editing all the variables in there with the email, and sending it to the prospect, right? Just to get a first good prospect interaction when signing with the client. So output is the prospect receives the email and accesses your resources. So you probably won't learn much from that. Like you're just sending an email, but one day after doing the input output, you're like, hey, I can actually probably just automate this. Like I'm spending 10 to 15 minutes emailing the prospect, sending them all the resources, building their customized plan with the email. I don't need to do this, right? So then you go, what can I automate? Like if I am automating the email, I can just send this email to save me 10 to 15 minutes every time. What else can you automate in the business? So next I'm going to get into what I call the leverage pyramid. This is coined by Naval, big fan of Naval. So first we have labor, capital, code, and media. So what does this all mean? So labor is you're hiring people to do things. So if I wanted someone to work for me to actually send out those emails, like send out the emails to the prospect and just give someone else the task, right? You can do that, no problem. But one, you have to manage them. Two, you have to pay them, right? So there's a bunch of variables here that just cause it to be unnecessary when you're hiring. So hiring is kind of the bottom tier of leverage because there's a bunch of other responsibilities and time management things that come along with hiring, right? Next is paying capital. I can't really use this example in terms of sending the email because you can't use money to send an email, right? Other than unless you're paying for software, but then that's what we'll get to right now, which is code. Capital is like investing into business, right? So these are all things that get the most amount of outputs for your inputs. So if you're investing in a business, the business runs itself, right? They have a CEO, they have all these things, the structure of the business, and the business is independent of usually you. You probably have a decision-making say in it, obviously, but it doesn't require all of your day because it's just earning in your sleep, right? Next thing, let's go back to the email example right here. Code, right? So with the software, It is working all the time, anytime a client comes in. So you can sign a client tomorrow, then have instantly, or whatever, Zapier send out the email, and all you're paying for is the monthly subscription of like, I don't know, Zapier's like $10, $15, something like that, right? So you're just paying for that monthly subscription to have it all automated out. So why are you telling me this, Joe? What are you trying to get at? Most of the things in your agency, with the new ages, with ChatGPT, all these things can be automated out. Most of the time, you don't need anybody, right? With this coaching business I'm running right now, 0 employees, except me, 0, right? And this is because I have built this coaching business I'm building right now completely off of media. Since you're watching this YouTube video, so let's give another example. If I'm sending this video to one person at a time, that's really low leverage, right? We're getting one person out of one input, right? So think of systems theory, right? We have input, output, feedback. So I send a video to someone, they receive the video, I get feedback that the person saw the video. Perfect, right? Next one, right? I post the video to YouTube. I get 1,000 views. I notice that 1,000 people watched it. I start posting on YouTube, right? So that's just a very obvious example, but this is a very, very understandable thing for you, right? You need to understand that you need to make the most out of your outputs in business, right? So by me uploading this YouTube video, I'm reaching probably hundreds or thousands of people depending on how well it does, right? And I understand that. That's why I upload YouTube videos instead of send, I don't know, people a loom independently, record this 1,000,000 times, right? So you want to get the most outputs for your input. Now I cannot make this clear enough, right? So quickly, a quote by Archimedes. He said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world." And this is a perfect diagram of leverage. If you have enough leverage with this lever, you're generating enough force to actually multiply it enough times with the lever. So think of it like this. This video on YouTube is acting as a lever right now because I can have as many people as I possibly can view it, and it does not matter for me. There is no restrictions on the amount of people that can view this YouTube video. If I was sending a loom to each person, it would be 1. So this is a multiplier. If Archimedes is standing far enough away from this, the longer the lever is, the more it's multiplied, right? So what we want to do is multiply the amount of outputs in the system for our inputs. So what are we making the most outputs from that we are putting in the system? So let's go back to direct business so we can tie this in. So in scaling a business, there becomes mess. So let's say I'm running ads for my SMA right now. If I want to do $100 in ads a day, I can scale my business really, really quickly, right? But then you have like the whole sales team booked out. You have your full calendar booked out and you're signing clients, like a client a day, right? Why am I not doing that right now? Because it would create an unprecedented amount of mess with the business, right? With scalability, it comes mess. So I would have to have dozens of client results being delivered for them. My team is only a few people, so I wouldn't be able to deliver the results that we're actually saying because I only have a few people managing dozens and dozens of clients. It's not going to work. I only have 2 sales guys, so they can only take a certain amount of appointments. The realtors or whatever niche you're in would have to be booking for weeks out. So this is the mess. Like, you have to realize that the scaling of the business comes with mess in the process, right? So this is where we have the input-output equation, right? So let's say I'm investing in ads. Input, that's an input. I am running ads. That's an input equation. Output is a bunch of appointments that all my salespeople can't take, right? So then we have systemization. This is the feedback for the next input of, remember this equation here? Try to memorize this. You can use it for everything in your life, right? Everything. I'll use some more examples in a moment so you understand. But with all of the appointments I have on my calendar, I have to hire another sales guy. And I train the sales guy, teach him how to sell, the framework of my offer, the back end, all that thing. That might take weeks. It might just take weeks, right? So then you have a systemization of the sales team. You have another person coming in, and then you can run more ads because you have 3 calendar slots, right? Perfect. So think about it like this. Let's say you have a digital product then. Let's say we're on the top of this leverage pyramid. We're on the code and we're using digital product. Let's use Ayman Ghazi for a second, right? We have a digital product that's advertised in all inbound leads from Ayman Ghazi's team. Like, he's attracting clients and clients a day to buy his products, right? And let's say you have code to deliver the product. So you have all the attraction done by the actual outreach, or the inbound leads are coming in, sorry. Then you have all of the service delivery done because it's just a product, and you have infinite service delivery. Let's say you're taking, I'm in Ghazi's business model, and let's just kind of map it, right? This isn't exact, obviously. We're just using this as a mental model for you to understand what leverage is. But let's say working without leverage, right? We're not worrying about systemizing absolutely anything. Like, we don't care. Let's say I'm not doing any hiring. I'm not doing any advertising. I'm not using anybody to reinvest in businesses. Let's say I'm just doing that, right? My SMA would look like this, because I'm a one-person team. Maybe I'll hit 10K a month, and I'll have 45-hour weeks. Like, I'm just done. I'm tapped out. That's how I make all of my money. I can't hire, can't do anything. I'm just going to be because I'll be capped by my time. I'll be completely capped by my time, right? So let's say I'm working with leverage. Let's say I can do some hiring. I can run some ads. Right, perfect. So that's when it's going to start going up, because then we have more outputs for our inputs and we start going up. We understand leverage is important. We're working with leverage and we're linearly heading upwards. Okay. Next thing, reinvesting into leverage, right? So let's go back to the email sequence. Let's say we signed a client. I don't even have to have team members to send those email sequences. I'm reinvesting into software to do my email sequences. Perfect. Another example. I'm using software for service delivery. Let's say I automate, go high level with automations that I don't have to touch service delivery, right? Let's say I reinvest to my front end where I don't even need a sales team. They can just buy a digital product, right? So when you're reinvesting into this leverage pyramid continually, then this is when you start seeing an exponential growth in the business. And this is why I put the title of this document, Building the Exponential Agency. Because you can work 2 hours a day and then scale infinitely with the right amount of leverage. And there's a few sayings. I think one is by the leader of ChatGPT or OpenAI. It's Sam Altman. He believes that there will be a one-man, $1 billion business very soon. And I do agree. I do agree, because we are having, the times right now are coming with infinite innovation scale with our softwares and our media and whatever, automations, right? It's unbelievable. ChatGPT is the first step in that, right? So we're going to get business having one person in the team and then reaching $1 billion, probably. So I see all these SMA guys, not to call them out, but I'd rather do things a different way. And I like investing into leverage. I like investing into growing my business exponentially. And actually just automating things I don't need to be done by a person without sacrificing the quality of my SMA. And I think these things can be done now, because we're seeing guys on YouTube work 10 to 15 hours on things that really don't matter. And you can hire people for things that they're probably better than you at if you pick the right talent, and you'll be getting more outputs in the actual equation, of the systems theory equation. So think about this for a second. Now that you understand systems theory, input, output, feedback, that's the main one. You can break everything in your agency to an input-output equation, right? So full credit to EasyGrow here. This is from EasyGrow. But let's say we get a human, and then this is the input. Then we have the output, and we get feedback. Perfect. Feedback, boom. And this is a system in itself. Next, we head up, we get attention, right? Then we have attention into interest. Like, they saw our cold email on their Gmail. The attention is to turn into interest because we had a good offer, right? Then you send 1,000 emails and you get more feedback to turn more attention into more interest. You change your email and get better email copy. This is another system, right? Then you get the interest and you turn it into an appointment. And then you get more appointments, and then you edit your scripts and you edit your systems. So this is all iteration. Like, this is the feedback on everything. Everything is a mini system. Absolutely everything is a mini system. Even, let's say, your service delivery. Let's talk about service delivery for one more minute. I'm going to rant, but I hope you guys find this valuable. Service delivery, you onboard the client, right? You find a new way to onboard the client. That's a system. Then you set up their Google Ads, let's say, right? You run the Google Ads, you find feedback on what's working and what's not working. You iterate, right? Then you test something else. It does worse. Perfect. Feedback is don't do that, right? Try it again. Same thing. Split test, another thing. This is all mini systems. Each one of these things I'm mentioning is just mini systems in the broad scale business, right? And I'm talking about business because it's a business channel, and I love business, and I want you guys to find value and scale your businesses from my channel, but you can apply this to fitness, right? You can apply this to the gym. You lift the weights, that's input. You try one different exercise. You find your sword from the exercise, perfect. Do more of the exercise, perfect. You grow your muscle a bit. Next thing, try a different exercise. Feedback, you don't like it. Perfect, then screw it. Don't do it, right? Test things with your diet. You eat 2,300 calories. You bulk up too much than you would like, right? You want to eat at maintenance. Then you 2,100. Perfect, I'm staying the same weight. I'm recomping, right? Next thing, I want to go into bulk. Perfect, 2,500. Way too much calories. Don't like that. That's the feedback. 2,400, perfect. That's my new recomp. So these are all mini systems in whatever you're trying to do in your life. You need the goal, you need the input, you need the output, you need the feedback, and that's how you optimize, that's how you scale, that's how you reinvest into leverage, and that's how you grow your business exponentially. And I hope you found value in this. That's just how I break things down into life. I see life through this input-output equation and the feedback. This is how I got to working on my business 2 hours a day. And I hope you found some value in this. Automate out systems, hire people that are quality to replace your job. And if you found value in this video, I have a free school group in the description. I give away all the resources in all my videos into that school group. And then as well, if you enjoyed the video, just like and subscribe. That would mean a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. Goodbye.